All right, I need to be honest with y'all and with myself. Fortnite is dead to me. And this is the story of how I'm walking away from a game I really truly loved. It wasn't one big thing, but a slow burn. A death by 1,000 cuts from soulless collabs, feeling like the community is screaming to avoid, and a level of toxicity that just ground me down into the dust. I took a month off of streaming and content creation a few months ago to get my head straight, and now I think I'm finally ready to talk about it. This isn't a rage quit video, and I'm not here to tell you to stop playing. Think of this as a eulogy, a sad story for a game that took over the world and for a while took over my life. But the game I fell in love with is gone. In its place, there's a ghost. A marketing machine that's brilliant at pushing all the right buttons to make money flow, but somewhere along the way, it forgot how to have a soul. Let's go back. Back to 2017, 2018, before the endless crossovers, before every single strategy was analyzed down to the nanosecond. You remember what that felt like? The first time you jumped from the battle bus looking down at that bright, weird island? None of us had a clue what we were doing. Building was a clumsy, chaotic mess. We were hiding in bushes, panic building walls that weren't nowhere, and just getting lost exploring places like Dusty Depot and Risky Reels. Every single match felt like an adventure because the island itself was the main character. We weren't just playing a game, we were all part of this global thing, a story that was literally unfolding under our feet. We all stopped what we were doing to watch a rocket crack open the sky. We spent weeks swapping theories about a giant purple cube we all decided to name Kevin. Those were real shared experiences. Digital campfires where millions of us gathered to watch something strange and wonderful happen. The game was simple enough for anyone to try, but the story Epic was telling made it feel so much more than just another battle royale. It felt like a world. There were masters of telling a story without saying a word, and we were all completely hooked. I poured hundreds of hours into that world, not just chasing a victory royale, but just being there. Enjoying the vibe, the exploration, the feeling that we were all figuring it out together. Those were the golden years. But honeymoons always end. For me, the first crack wasn't a huge explosion. It was a quiet, creeping feeling that the game's priorities were changing. The island that once was the star of the show was slowly turning into a giant billboard. It started small. A crossover here, a branded skin there. At first, it was kind of cool, a fun novelty to see a character from a movie I liked running around. But then, it just didn't stop. The massive world events, which used to be all about Fortnite's own weird story, were replaced by what was basically just interactive ads. A concert to promote an artist, a movie trailer to premiere, or a new skin to hype up a blockbuster. Every single one yanked me out of the world I loved and reminded me I was playing inside of a commercial. The mystery was gone, replaced by a predictable marketing calendar. Now, leaks for the coming year read like a pop culture spreadsheet. Leaks and rumors for 2026 are already flying, mentioning massive names like One Piece, Devil May Cry, Overwatch, and even Resident Evil. Where's the room for the next Kevin the Cube in all of this? Where's the space for a new story that is 100% Fortnite? It feels like there isn't any. The game stopped being a world and became a platform, a hub. And that's a fantastic business model, but it's a terrible way to keep the soul of a game. My disappointment snowballed into 3 big problems that finally made me quit. Each one made the others worse, creating this cycle of frustration, burnout, and honestly just sadness. I'm just going to be blunt. Fortnite makes an insane amount of money. The game has over 650 million registered players, and in recent years its revenues has been astronomical, with estimates putting its annual earnings between the ballpark of $5 to $6 billion. And look, making money in and of itself isn't evil, but when the hunt for that dollar starts to eat away at the very thing that made the game special, you've got a problem. The game is now a relentless content treadmill, and collaborations are the fuel. Instead of meaningful updates to the core game, we get a constant flood of monetized tie-ins. The Avatar collab, for example, brought in elemental bending, which was fun for a minute, but it also completely broke the game's core mechanics. These crossovers aren't special events anymore, they are the business model. The item shop refreshes with another movie hero, another anime character, another celebrity, and each one feels like a cash grab meant to prey on our love for other things. The game I admired for building its own creative universe is now just a digital Funko Pop collection. Its identity is so diluted it's almost unrecognizable. The passion that gave us that rocket launch has been swapped out for calculated, synergistic marketing plans. The game doesn't feel like it's made by artists anymore, it feels like it's being managed by a branding department. It's a machine built to turn our nostalgia for other worlds into V-Bucks, and honestly, I feel used. With over 110 million people playing every month, you'd think the community feedback would be a top priority, but most of the time, it feels like we're all just shouting into a void. Huge changes to the movement, the UI changes all the time, the fundamental mechanics, they push through with zero warning or consultation, and when the community finally pushes back, the response is usually just silence. It makes you feel alienated. Like we, the players who sink our time and money in this, just don't have a voice anymore. I feel this disconnect, especially on platforms like Twitch. The game still gets huge viewership, and most of the top streamers like Click still pull in massive numbers, but for the average creator, it just feels like a dead end. The perception among so many smaller channels is that you can stream for hundreds of hours and see almost no growth. Even the official Fortnite channel's growth seems sluggish compared to its actual viewership. This creates this top-heavy, high-stakes pressure cooker. The odds of growing are so slim that it contributes to a culture where the game stops being about fun. For many, it's a desperate grind for relevance in a market that feels completely oversaturated. And when the developers seem to ignore feedback from both casuals and creators, it feels like they're fine with that, as long as the money keeps coming in. And this is the one that really broke me. You take a game that feels soulless and a community that feels ignored, and you create a perfect breeding ground for one of the most toxic environments in all of gaming. Spend 5 minutes in a chat, on social media, or in a streamer's comments, and you'll see it. It's a culture of sweaty egos where any small mistake gets you hit with insults like you're just trash at the game. Now, Epic has tried to fight this, issuing mass bans for rural abuse, and that's a good step, but the culture is baked in at this point. I was constantly being backseat gamed, trash talked by my own teammates, and hit with a level of anger that was genuinely jarring. It's not a friendly competition, it's a hostile environment that punishes you for daring to be less than perfect. And that toxicity is what fuels the burnout. The game demands an insane amount of skill. You have to master building, editing, and shooting all at once. For anyone trying to keep up the intense grind, often 5 to 6 hours a day is mentally exhausting. When you pour that much of yourself into a game and all you get back is hostility, it just wears you down. I hit a wall. I wasn't having fun. I ended a session feeling drained, frustrated, and angry. The game started to feel like a job that I hated, so I quit. I uninstalled it and didn't look back for an entire month. But honestly, this is just my story. I know so many of you have your own experience with this game, good and bad. So I have to ask you, what was your breaking point? Or are you still loving the game and think I'm totally wrong? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear where everyone else stands, because for me, a long time, I felt like I was the only one who felt this way. That month away for me was a real eye-opener. The first few days, I had that like phantom limb feeling. I'd get the urge to log on and check the item shop or grind a few matches, but after about a week, something incredible happened. Quiet. The constant pressure I didn't even realize there was just, well, gone. I wasn't worried about my skills getting rusty. I wasn't bracing for the next toxic kid in chat. Honestly, I finally just had peace. I rediscovered other games, games with stories, games that actually respected my time, games that were about working together without the hyper-competitive stress simmering underneath everything. I reconnected with friends on games that weren't always just about killing each other. I realized just how much mental real estate Fortnite had been taking up and how much of it was filled with just pure negativity. Coming back to talk about this game for this video kinda honestly felt weird. Like visiting your childhood home after it was sold and totally gutted by the new owners. The foundation is the same, but the feeling and the soul is honestly just gone. The colors are still bright, but somehow they feel hollow. The game is still a monster success, with daily player counts averaging between 1 and 3 million, and can sometimes even skyrocket over 14 million during live events. By every metric you can measure, the game is still winning, but is no longer a win for me. So is Fortnite dead? No, not even close. It's a cultural and financial juggernaut that's probably going to be around for years, but the Fortnite I knew, the game of mystery that shared discovery and quirky charm, that game is just dead. Been replaced by a polished, efficient, and ultimately hollow product engineered to squeeze every last drop of value from its massive audience. I'm not angry anymore, I'm just sad. I'm sad for the game that used to be, and for the community that feels left behind. Walking away was one of the best things I've ever done for my mental health, and for my love of gaming as a whole. I really hope that one day Epic finds a way to balance their business goals with that creative spark that once made this game feel so special. But I won't be holding my breath. My time on the island is over, and thank you guys for all the memories, and thank you, Fortnite. It was fun while it lasted.